Good morning,
Oh,
everyone.
good morning.
Uh, this this is the INSOL Europe COVID coffee break. The participants are Simeon from Bulgaria and Cristina from Romania, and myself, Zoltán Fabók from Hungary. A few words about us. I am a lawyer and counsel at DLA Piper law firm based in Budapest. Cristina, can you say a few words about yourself?
Yes. Hello, guys. I'm glad to see you, even if remotely. I'm Cristina Ienciu from CITR, Romania's leading insolvency firm. I'm insolvency practitioner and the lawyer specialized in insolvency and restructuring.
Hello,
You,
everyone.
Simeon?
My name is Simeonov. I'm a lawyer with one of the biggest law firms in Bulgaria, the GKV. I'm a lawyer practicing in the field of insolvency, workouts, litigation, and some other fields. So I'm delighted to have this short video with you.
Okay. How about your daily life nowadays? You have heard about this COVID crisis, I'm sure. How has this crisis changed your professional life in the last few weeks? Can you start, Simon?
Okay, yes. Right now I'm in my office, but the situation was different in the last 2 months because I had been working from home and all the team worked from home since the middle of March, except of course the administrative staff. I think it was a difficult period for everyone, both personal and professional life. Professionally, for example, we had to rethink a part of our activity and how the things work. So everything was different. We had no face-to-face meetings with the clients, just online meetings using Teams or using Zoom for example, no hearings in court, online auctions. We all work from home and we had to move our internal meetings in online and no paper, no physical documents, no physical files. So everything, so DD, difficult and different, not due deal, how we used to say. But overall, I think we managed quite well the situation. How about you,
How
Simon?
about Yep.
Okay, as you may know, Bulgaria is one of the member states where the crisis was relatively light, so we didn't have a real lockdown as some of the other countries in Europe. So I had the opportunity to visit my office whenever I want. But now I'm relieved. We've just officially returned to the normal life since this Monday. So there is no lockdown anymore. And in fact, all normal social activities have been launched again. Only some basic hygiene measures are still in force in the public transport, public indoor places, etc. So we are fine now, and we can feel the relief from this general state.
Yeah, I think our situation in Hungary.
All of us are in the office right now.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, we are planning to go back to. Oh, sorry, Simon. Okay, we are planning to go back to the new normal as well. We have had a lockdown, a partial lockdown. We were restricted from going to the office. Actually, we still are. But from next week on, gradually, we are planning to go back. So not the whole number of people, but certain groups of lawyers and administrative personnel. So hopefully we are getting over this stuff slowly. What about Cristina? You mentioned that you have had online auctions and hearings. What about courts? How courts have dealt with this difficult situation in your country?
Yes, we have two stages of this crisis, I can say. The emergency state, and starting 18th of May, we have a state of alert. And during the emergency state, most of the court proceedings in all matters were suspended. So that affected the insolvency procedures, considering that we had no hearings, no reorganization plans were approved by the syndic judges. Generally, no bankruptcy were open, and no insolvency practitioners, debtors, creditor requests were solved. During this time, only emergency cases were solved by the courts. In insolvency, the following cases were considered to be urgent. For example, the request for opening the insolvency, the debtor request for opening the insolvency, the request for temporary suspension of judicial, administrator, liquidator measures, and request for temporary suspension of enforcement proceedings against the debtor assets. And now, during the state of alert, the courts are functioning normally, I can say, but we still have to keep the social distance and wear mask in court. So
Have you have any experience with electronic hearings? I mean, remote hearing in Romania?
No.
I'm asking because I'm quite excited because I have just received a summon from the court, and I will have my first electronic hearing or remote hearing in the coming weeks, and I'm really curious how it will work.
Yes, in Romania, in the insolvency field, we had no hearings, no online hearings in insolvency, but in civil matters, it was one or two hearings in this country.
Remote hearing, you mean?
Yes, yes.
And which electronic means have you used? Zoom or which platform?
Skype. I think it was Skype. Yes.
Okay. Simeon, what's the situation with you?
Yeah, it's almost the same. In Bulgaria, we had 2 months state of emergency from March to 13th of May, and then the state of emergency was changed to specific anti-epidemic state of emergency again. But except this, we have just a normal court life now, as of 25th of May. So the courts now are functioning normally. Before that, during the state of emergency, the parliament enacted some legislative measures, which are very similar to those in Romania, like general stay on procedural terms, suspension of court hearings, including pending insolvency proceedings, access to the court, and the service of documents were also suspended for this state of emergency for 2 months. Also, some online hearings have been, the possibility for online hearings was introduced, but I haven't heard for this period of 1 or 2 months of some effective online hearings. So this remained a rather exotic option, and I think the courts were effectively prepared for this possibility. So I would say that we didn't have online hearings for this time, and now everything is normal, And maybe one more important thing, we had the ability to commence litigation cases and insolvency cases. I mean, to file applications with the court, but all the proceedings remained without any actions, not officially stayed, but suspended, but with no actions until 25th of May. And from this date, we have even normal hearings physically in the court with the respective hygiene measures, social distance, etc. So the situation is now normal in Bulgaria.
Okay, thank you. Now, because of the shortness of time, we should turn to our main topic, and this would be whether in your jurisdiction there are any pieces of emergency legislation which tries to address this very special situation we are in. So if we have a look at the international community, we can see that there are countries, for example, Australia, UK, Germany, Italy, where which countries have implemented quite important pieces of emergency legislation in the terrain of insolvency. By contrast, in Hungary, we have only a very few insolvency-specific legislation. We have so-called liquidation proceedings aimed at debt collection. This is somewhat similar to the statutory demand proceedings well known in English-based legal systems. Regarding these proceedings, the government provided some additional time, some additional room for maneuver for the debtors to avoid insolvency. We somehow relax, although we do not have a duty to file on the side of the debtor, but we have something similar, and the government relaxed this obligation of the debtor company. And there are several measures which, in a wider sense, might be considered as insolvency related legislation, but those measures mainly concern the whole of the economy. There is a payment moratorium for debtors till the end of the year. There is a protection of lease agreements in some sectors. The Judicial Enforcement Act has been temporarily modified at some points, but all in all, our measures have been quite limited. What is the situation in your country, Cristina?
Here in Romania, during the emergency state, no legislative changes have been made to the Romanian insolvency law, but some general measures adopted by the Romanian government could be applied to the companies in insolvency as well. But starting 18th of May, the state of emergency was replaced by a state of alert, and we have new measures regarding insolvency. We have three types of measures: measures regarding the procedure of concordat preventive, measures regarding the application for insolvency, and measures regarding the reorganization. First category, measures regarding the procedure of concordat preventive. Here, the 30-day period for drafting and submitting a concordat proposal is prolonged with 60 days, and the 60-day period for negotiate a concordat proposal is prolonged with for another 60 days. And the payment periods included in an approved concordat are extended for a period of 2 months. And we have a measure regarding the application, the debtor request, for example. Here, the obligation of a debtor to declare its insolvency within 30 days of having met the insolvency requirement is suspended during the state of alert, and additional 30 days after, from the date this state ends. And regarding the creditor request for insolvency, here the rule is that a creditor can submit a request for insolvency against the debtor, but if the activity of a debtor was suspended totally or partially during the state of emergency, before submitting a claim of insolvency, the creditor must negotiate with the debtor the unpaid amount. And we have the third category, measures regarding the reorganization. Here, the period for observation period is extended for 3 months, from 12 to 15 months, and the reorganization period is extended from 4 to 5 years. These are the measure regarding insolvency.
Thank you.
Okay.
Simeon, as far as I know, in Bulgaria, there have been implemented only relatively limited number of new measures.
We are obviously running hand by hand with Romania in terms that we do not have any specific measures, neither in the field of insolvency nor in the field of preventive restructuring mechanisms. And there are no signs of planning insolvency reforms or any legislative adjustments to reflect the COVID aftermath, which is very strange given the rest of the member states and some non-member states, which, as far as I know, have already enacted such different measures. We have none of them whatsoever. So the insolvency is in the same situation like before the COVID crisis. I do not know if this would be negative for the future.
This is the next question, Simeon. This is the next question. What is your expectation regarding the future? Is a new wave of insolvencies coming in the next month?
Yes, I guess so. Maybe not in the next month, but maybe in the next couple of months. The number of insolvency cases will rise, which is, I would say, would be normal for this situation. Bearing in mind that we don't have any legislative adjustments, and bearing in mind that the insolvency legislation is not very effective. It is slow and formal in Bulgaria right now, and it will remain obviously the same. I'm not sure how this legislation will handle the number of cases of insolvency and other financial distress companies. So it will be really a problem for the Bulgarian judicial system and the field of insolvency. We have also a preventive restructuring mechanism called in Bulgaria business stabilization procedure, and we have it since 2016. It's totally slow and ineffective. Right now, we don't have successfully completed cases. We even don't have launch cases, new open cases before because this procedure proved very, very formal, and it was enacted only in response to the urgent call of the European Commission, and contrary to the goal of the European legislator, it is very onerous and has no practical benefits whatsoever, I would say. Now,
has that piece of legislation something to do with the pre-insolvency directive, or this is a different stuff?
yes, the new insolvency directive shall be also implemented in Bulgaria. Some of the goals of this new directive from last year have been already set by the Bulgarian legislator, but this is a piece of paper now. I mean, there is no actual implementation or practical benefits. I don't know how this will work in the near future, given the rising cases of companies in financial distress, which are the goal of this business stabilization procedure. Because we care for companies which are not insolvent, but only in a situation just before insolvency. I mean,
yeah, thank you. Cristina, what is the situation in Romania concerning the new directive? Are there any plans to implement it sooner than planned, or there is a delay in implementation? What is the approach of your government?
Considering that the legislative measure adopting during the emergency state and during the state of alert, pre-insolvency does not appear to be a priority for our government. So we expect that the final version of the new legislation regarding pre-insolvency will be implemented maybe sometime next year. I think so. It's not a priority right now for the government.
The same in Hungary, I believe. Although I have asked these questions because some may believe that this new tool offered by the pre-insolvency directive might help the stakeholders in member states to go through this difficult situation without going into actual formal insolvency. So that's why some member states and some academics proposed that member states should accelerate the process of implementation. I don't know if that is realistic or not, but we should consider it, I believe.
I do not believe that the situation will become better with the transposition of the new directive on restructuring and insolvency. And this is not because of the directive itself, but because of the formal manner in which this will be most likely done by the national legislator once again. I'm speaking about Bulgaria, of course. I don't know how it is in your countries. But in Bulgaria, I'm not optimistic about the situation coming.
I'm more optimistic because I think we badly need such a flexible tool. Of course, I don't know if I don't know if how it will work in practice, but still I haven't lost my hope. We'll see next year what is going to happen. Thank you, guys. I'm afraid our coffee time is over. It was an extremely interesting conversation. Hopefully, we will see each other quite soon in a conference or somewhere else. Excuse me?
Let's hope not in the hearing room.
Let's hope not in the hearing room, or why not, actually?
It will be challenging.
So it has been a pleasure, and have a nice day to you all.
Have a nice day.
And to the audience, of course.
You too.
Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.